You with Kevin Durant on the Pull Up Podcast with me, CJ McCullum. Subscribe and listen every Wednesday on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your shows.
Hello, Tim. How are you, buddy? You're talking to Jim and Matt on UFC Unfiltered.
What's up, Tim?
What's going on, gentlemen?
How you doing?
I'm better now. I just got done training, and I felt like I was going to throw up for the past 40 minutes.
What kind of training, Tim? What'd you do?
It was like metabolic conditioning on it. So it was a posterior chain. We started with a mile run at like a 6:30 pace. Then we did a pull-up ladder, and then we did 50 calories for time on the bike, and then a 1-minute max distant row on the rower, and then we did a 80-pound Atlas ball 10 times over shoulder for time. So just a bunch of full, explosive, humiliating movements to make you feel like you're
Dude, no wonder. Tim, no wonder why you look like a He-Man figure. Tim, you are. Let me ask you, how old are you now, Tim?
I'm like in spirit or body?
No, in body, not spirit.
But,
I know spirit. You're very young.
Oh. What's that? See, even like in body, like you can't gauge me like a normal person because the amount of living that's happened in my body is that of like a 98-year-old. So, you know, like my body is that of, you know, just shy of 100 years old, I think.
Shit. How does your body hold up? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Listen, I feel great today, but I just did some push-ups and sit-ups and then like an hour of jiu-jitsu, but that's good. That's good enough for me. And I'm 44. From running hills, and listen, I haven't done, you know, I got in shape for my fights over the years, but I haven't done the shit you've done, Tim. I haven't done the shit you did this morning. No, well, but you know, you've been with the Rangers and whatever else. You know, you're a machine. How does your knees like I feel my knees now a little. I don't want to sound like an old dude, but I feel my fucking knees now from running hills and shit. How does your body hold up?
Yeah, I think the trick that a lot of people don't know about is duct tape and Gorilla Glue. So
Wow.
if you take Gorilla Glue and you inject it directly into the joint and then duct tape your knees, they stay together.
Wow, that's the stuff I use when I run out of condoms.
Nice. I like your style.
Well, after that answer, I think I'm staying to my jiu-jitsu and my elliptical. But hey, listen, to each his own, Tim. Tim, could you tell us about Hard to Kill, the new show you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, the two cool things about it is you got a bunch of people doing the most extraordinary, incredible things that a human could possibly do, and they do it so that we can live our lives normally. And then you have me, who, you know, I'm essentially 2 generations removed from the tree. I'm a hairy-handed troll. You know, like I should have just stayed up the trees with the rest of the orangutan. And I go and try and do these things, look like an idiot, usually get hurt trying. And it makes these people that do these jobs, I think it's very clear that they are hard to kill, that they are intelligent, that they are just superheroes without capes, you know, with hammers and pilots. They're amazing. I'm in every job I did. I just fell in love with the people doing these jobs, and I just realized how stupid and dumb I am at everything that I do.
Could you name? I don't know if it's a surprise, but could you just name a few of the things that you've had to do, or?
You know, so some of the jobs we did like experimental test pilot. That's episode number 1. In the, you know, like we get on an airplane and you want your Cracker Jack box and your peanuts and your pretzels and you want your beverage service.
Yes.
But
I'm getting
you don't
excited.
Think about, like that's good stuff, right? But you don't think about, like there's no crash test dummy for airplanes, right? That's not how it works. Some dude or some lady has to sit behind the control sticks of that airplane for the very first time and be like, screw it, let's see if it flies. And then they go. In the beginning of aviation, 50% of pilots died. And then once we kind of moved into modern day aviation, 1 in 5 pilots died.
Wow.
So, you know, and still current day, 1 in 5 pilots in experimental test pilots, they crash. You know, but now with ejection seats and parachutes and the survivability and modern medicine, not as many of them die, thankfully, but we just forget about all of the extraordinary, courageous, heroic people doing these jobs to make our lives easy. You know, like getting fuel the process of extracting oil from the ground is dangerous. It's pipes in the center of the ocean, and it's flammable liquid in the middle of the desert. And it's just like it's scary stuff. And there's people that do it every single day. So some of the jobs were EMD, EOD bomb technicians, experimental test pilot, a bush pilot up in Alaska flying medication and food, commercial fishermen, both in Florida and up in the Northeast off the coast. That job was humbling. Yeah. That was a big old kick in the balls, and it was a gut punch every day, just realizing how bad I am at all the things that they're good at.
And Tim, let me ask you too about the pilots. Did you flew some of those test flights?
Yeah, man. I got in Air Force military jets, pushed the legal limits of what the aircrafts were allowed to do, seeing if I could pass out. Then we put me inside of a cockpit, locked the cockpit, and then set the airplane on fire. Put me up inside of a...
Now, is this a commercial flight? So don't these guys have
I don't like fire.
Don't they have to stall the plane too? Like, these test pilots are maniacs because they have to see what happens if the plane stalls, what happens. Like, they put themselves in treacherous situations and then kind of try to dig themselves out of it in the air.
Yeah, intentionally. Yeah, they're like, okay, let's go ahead and push this plane up where the engine stops working. And then as we start tumbling, let's see if the wings fall off. And I was like, that's a bad plan.
Yeah.
Should we do something else besides either of those two things? Because both of those things sound like I'm going to die.
How did this show come about? Now, were you involved with the process of making the show? They approached you with this idea?
Yeah, so the production company, Karga, I had worked with them for the past 3 years on a different show called Hunting Hitler.
Yes.
Where I was an investigator. And we're going all over the world. They see me scaling mountains and rappelling off cliffs, and they see me scuba diving at 200 feet, jumping out of airplanes. And, they realized that I am full bananas stupid. They're like, this guy's an idiot. So we could probably do some really dumb stuff with this guy. And voila, they put me with a bunch of really smart, heroic, courageous, incredible people. And I try and do what they do really well, and I don't do it. I think that's the main theme here is that they should rename the show as a bunch of really cool people that are good at their jobs and stupid Tim Kennedy. That's the new name.
You're like a real life freaking action hero.
Well, you're doing what like Mike Rowe did, like dangerous jobs, but not like this. No. Mike just did kind of gross jobs. Like, this is a place that we could actually get killed doing your job.
They they normally do. The bush pilot, the episode, we take an R-22 helicopter, and there's a pilot that was flying up over the Arctic. His helicopter crashed in the water, and as it was submerging, he's like, oh, shoot, I forgot my survival equipment, as his helicopter is plunging down into the depths. He's like, oh, I'll swim down. The water's freezing, right? He's pushing chunks of ice out of the way as he swims down to get a survival bag. Then once he gets it, he looks up and he's like, oh, great, there's an iceberg. So he swims over to the iceberg, gets up on the iceberg. He spends the next 3 days of his life fighting off damn polar bears so he doesn't get eaten alive.
Wait,
he survives, and that's the episode that we try to recreate.
Oh, shit, man. Is that... What episode is that? Or I'll just start watching the series, but is that deep in, or is that like the second episode? That sounds awesome. I want to see.
Yeah, that's going to be like episode 3 or 4. We have some other episodes that we're doing. We're doing avalanche mitigation, avalanche control experts. So there's a bunch of people that ski along the tops of the ridges where normal people go and ski down the mountains, and they cause avalanches to happen so they don't accidentally occur and bury somebody. So I get buried in an avalanche, which is really freaking scary. If you're claustrophobic or if you like to breathe air, if you don't want to freeze to death and you want to know which way is up, don't get buried in an avalanche because you don't get any of those things.
What are you supposed to do?
You will freeze to death. So what I did, as I was laying there, it was too dark to see. It's almost pitch black. As I was breathing, I was exhaling. It was melting the snow, and a drop of water fell and I watched the drop fall and hit my lip. And I was like, gravity is cool. And that was like the biggest nirvanic bliss, realizing which way was up, which was actually, I was almost inverted looking, if you could see my penis, which you couldn't because it was frozen.
Sure.
Your
little frozen
penis.
penis.
Up was in direction of my frozen penis.
That they say you should drool or something too, because then the spit, you'll feel it go a certain way, or it's just a terrifying thing. Like if you release spittle from your mouth a little bit, it will go south, so at least you'll know which way is up.
Yeah, the scariest part was every time you exhaled, you would melt this little cocoon of air around your face, and it was tiny, and then it would refreeze. And then every time that you breathed, there was a little less air.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Wait, you got a little less every single time.
Wait, I'm confused, Tim. They put you on the snow? Like, what are we talking about here?
They just wanted to show you what it felt like, right?
Is that what they did?
No, bro, they put me in the bottom of a damn mountain, and then they made an avalanche come and cascade around me.
The fuck?
So I got buried alive in an avalanche.
Now, listen, Tim, I'm not no pansy. I used to do some alpha stuff. Jimmy will argue that. He'll say I am a pansy. Now, I used to fight in the cage, much like yourself. But do you have not a death wish, but do you have are you like an adrenaline junkie, Tim Kennedy?
I mean, I've been.
It's not normal to do shit like this,
no.
Tim. I don't want to say this, Tim, but it's not. I don't know if anybody ever told you. They might be afraid, but it's not normal to do this shit, Tim. To get buried in a fucking avalanche on purpose. I hope they're taking
well
care
compensated.
of you. Hope you're getting well compensated.
Well, I think it's less about me, honestly. It's more about the people that do these jobs every single day. Like I did it for like 2 weeks, and I had to see physical therapists, and
Jesus.
still, like we're done filming 4 months later, and I'm still working through some injuries that happened during the filming of the show. So, and I only did these jobs for a few weeks at a time. There's people that do them for 40 years, and I think that is the big takeaway, is like how remarkable and extraordinary and amazing and spectacular and genius. I mean, some of them are damn brain surgeons with bullets going off around their heads, like the EOD bomb techs. Like those guys have to do the most minute, tiny movements. They're brain surgeons and they're mechanical engineers, and they're doing it while they're in a suit that is making their body be 120 degrees at front of them, and bullets are going off around them. It's just crazy.
It is freaking crazy. Now listen, you're busy with this show, which sounds insane, and we're going to plug that again. But are you still following MMA with all you're doing, or no? So I've never been like an MMA guy. I've been a martial artist. I think you're kind of the same, honestly. Yeah.
Or I think you are.
Yeah. Well,
I started doing martial arts when I was 6 years old. And I'm going to be a martial artist till the day that I die. I still train 14 times a week.
Wow. Yeah.
I still do jiu-jitsu 5 times a week. I still do Muay Thai 3-4 times a week. I still do MMA a couple times a week. I do strength and conditioning 4 times a week. So it's like, it is still an important part of my life. I still think I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
And the competition itch will never be scratched hard enough.
Yeah.
I kind of have bigger fish to fry right now.
Do you miss the feeling of walking out to the octagon, or are you? I know you're busy. You're keeping busy. We're lucky, Tim. We got post-fight careers going on, but so some guys, I guess, who don't have anything going on, they're a little bit more like, oh, I miss it so much. So I know you're extremely busy, but I also know the feeling of walking to that cage, getting your hand raised, being in battle. Do you miss it at all, Tim, or you're just too busy?
Of course. It is one of the most addictive things somebody could ever do, is to hear their walkout song as the anticipation of going in, and you're stripped bare. You're wearing shorts and gloves and a mouthpiece, and it is the most raw exposure of human capability measurement that you can possibly get.
There's something so pure about it. There is.
Yeah, it's beautiful and it's pure. It's ballet. It's violence. It's being an artist and being a demolition ball at the same time. It's a gorgeous thing. There's a lot of. I'm still a competitive shooter. I'm still a competitive grappler. I would love to fight again. But for example, one of the episodes we did bullfighting, and I walked into the oldest and most famous arena in the world, and I am on a Friday night, the bullfighter protecting the bull rider. You hear your name, Kennedy. You're wearing your jersey. It is unlike anything I ever experienced in the octagon. It was pure chaos. It was pure anarchy, pure rage. No weight class, 85 pounds. It was a 2,000-pound wild animal that wanted to hurt me.
Yes.
Man, that sounds insane. Tim, when you fought, I love watching you fight, Tim. I'm a stocky guy as well. For your weight class, you were a shorter, stocky guy. And I love the way you used your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It was really just, people don't talk about it enough. You're from your takedowns to your passing to your, I love the way your Jiu-Jitsu game. Did you ever think about, because you said you're still competitive, you're grappling a lot. You ever think about taking any grappling super fights or anything like that, like an ADCC match or one of those, I don't know, Eddie Bravo matches or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I say absolutely, without hesitation.
Yeah.
But I'm going to caveat that and say I don't want to do something that is moving into the abomination of this sport jiu-jitsu. If I have somebody that's like donkey guarding me, I'm going to kick him in the taint as hard as I can.
I'm so with you.
And if, like,
Tim Kennedy, listen to me. This is for you. Yes, Tim Kennedy. You're a hero in more ways than one. I'm with you with that, man. Back in the day, Tim, when we were coming up, I would watch fighters, some guys that come to mind. I'm sure you heard their names before because you're old school like me. Fabio Gurgel, Murulo Bustamante, who fought Tom Erickson for 45 minutes. But they did jiu-jitsu. When they did Brazilian jiu-jitsu tournaments, or gi or no gi, it transcends. It goes from jiu-jitsu to MMA to sub-grappling. And it's not that much different. Does that make sense compared to the grappling of today?
Absolutely. The jiu-jitsu in its purest form, it like you said, transcends all other martial arts. It can destroy the best striker, and it can dominate the best wrestler, and that's the purest form of jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
This sports jiu-jitsu thing is so narrow and it's so limited. If you go back to Helio Gracie, if you listen to what he would say, he said, if somebody can touch your face while you're grappling, you're doing it wrong.
Yes.
Because he always had that idea of, I'm going to try and push your eye out.
Yes.
Or I'm not going to put on an arm bar so you tap. I'm going to put on an arm bar so you never use that arm again.
Yes.
Those are different things.
I love it. Hey, let me tell you, Tim, I mean, you're a super stud with all you do. I can't believe, everything you do is like you're superhuman. Personally, I own a couple of jiu-jitsu schools. Since I got done fighting like 8 years ago, I haven't sparred a day. I'll do some glove drills, some pads, but I do jiu-jitsu 4 or 5 days a week. I fucking love it. I live it. And I like that you got the same views on that. Because I don't tell my guys not to do tournaments. It's good. It's good to compete. I don't care if it's chess or jiu-jitsu, whatever it is. But don't get it twisted when it comes to a fight when you're doing certain shit. You know what I mean? I'm with you with that, Tim.
Yeah.
Let's plug this show, Chris, the producer.
Yeah, it's called
That's how much I love this. Yes.
Hard to Kill, Tuesday, July 31st, 10 o'clock on Discovery, which is a great place for it. This sounds really great, Tim. And, you're such a fierce fighter. And obviously, your military service. How many tours of duty did you do?
That's what I'm at. I'm at 20 trips overseas total from the military, and actually the same day that my show airs, I'm going to be leaving again for military stuff. So I'll be dropping off the radar for a couple of months.
Wow, you are still active, man. That's absolutely incredible.
Let me tell you something, Tim. In this room, in this studio, I feel so fucking alpha, Tim. I talk to you, I'm like, I don't know what I gotta do. I gotta fucking learn how to shoot a crossbow. I gotta do something. Tim, you're a fucking superhero, Tim Kennedy, like a real Captain America.
Yeah, it's amazing, dude.
I fucking love
Don't
it.
stop it.
Look at him.
Be careful. Look, man, it's always good. It's good talking to you. Be careful overseas, and good luck with your show. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, Tim.
I really appreciate it, you guys. Just keep kicking ass, and God bless America.
Thanks, Tim. Take care, buddy.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, his phone was cut out just a little bit. What a nice guy, though, man.
Oh, man. And
what a
dude, first of
what a
all,
savage.
I mean, not for nothing, dude. He beat Hondra Gracie, who's a phenomenal jiu-jitsu player. Phenomenal. One of the best on the planet. That good. And he pretty much out-grappled him in that fight. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Tim's a unique individual, and you don't get manlier than that.